Hi, I'm Jack Canfield, and welcome to another episode of Talking About Success. With me today is Renee Doring, and Julie is the #1 brain rejuvenation expert. She has mapped out the human blueprint and how to work in the quantum field for both clearing and cell regeneration in her groundbreaking book, Your Divine Human Blueprint. And she's added new words to our vocabulary with her quantum technique for regeneration, cellular neogenesis, and for her medically documented DNA obliteration for removing harmful DNA. And her expertise also includes the complete removal of spiritual parasites and anchors. She trains students in her original quantum activation trainings, reaching into 64 countries with the miracle of live stream trainings. Prolific, she is a best-selling author and has more than 150 trainings she's designed and 187 transformative meditations. You know, your story is an incredible testament of survival and transformation. Can you share with us how you came to do this amazing work that you do?
Oh, I'd be happy to, Jack. I literally survived the atomic bomb testing in the Nevada desert. I had 17 surgeries, multiple cancers, and I died twice. And through all that, I came to a place in my life where I said, God, take me or make me well. I can't keep going this way. And I went into my garden in prayer and meditation, and really with the idea that I was either going to be taken or made well. And I really, through that very first day, through chanting and prayer, and then just being present, my cells began to regenerate. And I started getting healthy. And what was so cool is the doctors and the scientists in my life were watching me get healthy, something that was impossible since the radiation poisoning and all the illness. It was something that was just not known that it could happen. And so they were asking, how is this happening? So I began to really map out what was going on. And that's how that big book got written, actually, was scientists kept asking, how is this happening? How is this happening? So I mapped it out, and over a period of 8, almost 9 years now, I've been teaching how to use the quantum field to regenerate the body.
Wow, so that's what quantum rejuvenation means, the quantum field rejuvenating the body?
Exactly. Well, we're all part of the quantum field. I think one thing that people get a little confused about is what exactly is the quantum field? And there are two kinds of physics. There's Newtonian physics, and then there's quantum physics. Newtonian physics is like the apple falling from the tree. It's gravity. It's the new, it's what you see is what you get. And quantum physics defines everything as part of a whole, and everything is particles vibrating. And based on a couple things that we do, we set a thought or a belief in our mind that we're clearing, and then I teach a few different hand movements that quicken the access to the quantum field. So we're essentially rearranging your particles so that they vibrate in a better circumstance for you. So rather than doing energy work, which is not what we're doing, we're not putting any foreign energy anywhere. We're actually just rearranging you so that you're healthier, you're more vibrant, you can see better, feel better, your brain will work better.
Well, unpack that a little bit. You're rearranging the particles, or what does that mean exactly?
Well, essentially, if someone had Alzheimer's in their DNA, for example, there's a technique that I teach, a hand technique. So we're thinking, we can do this. We're thinking, I'm clearing Alzheimer DNA. And then we're doing a hand technique. And the hand technique for the DNA it looks like this. So this is the DNA removal process, which I used, and we have medically documented a woman who had breast cancer DNA. Her mother, her aunt, and her grandmother died of breast cancer. She went in, had the cancer test, and sure enough, she had the markers in her DNA. I did this technique. I cleared her DNA. She went back 6 months later. She didn't have any cancer marker in her DNA. So we're actually, you're thinking a thought, and then you're doing a hand movement to activate the quantum pleasure field. Now, you might think, well, why doesn't it work? Why don't we just think a thought and things change? And it's because we're mostly in a frequency that's not high enough. So why affirmations work so well and chanting and singing is when we get into a higher frequency, we're in the frequency where things can transform.
That's way cool. I like it. So doing this quantum rejuvenation work,
Yes.
why is that so important at this time in history, right now?
You know, it's the era change or the change of the age. And so we've come into this period of time where we can have our God information. And what that means is in the past, you and I were born in the patriarchal era, which was the era of domination, suppression, and control. And it went on for several thousand years. And what's happened now is in 76, we began the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Sure.
And Aquarius is the age of androgyny. But what we didn't quite realize, I think, as hippies back then, is that it was also the age of being able to own our God information, our knowledge, our wisdom, the wisdom of the ancient body. And so that's this time in history is a time where we can really actually get the information, we can own it, we can use it. We're not under that domination, suppression, and control anymore. So we have the freedom to express and to use this knowledge for good.
Now, your students who would say you've got amazing superpowers because you've done these things, whether it's the hand movement or the other things you do with the activations that you do. Is this something you can teach others, or is this just something that's unique to you? You're born with it? How does that work?
You know, that's a really great question too. Thank you for asking it. I now teach it. So up until a year or so ago, I was just a one-to-one, I don't know what to call myself. I was a one-to-one master health activator. Wouldn't call myself a therapist, and I wasn't a doctor, but I was creating miracles. We were growing back a colon that was surgically removed, and growing back adrenals, and all of these things were medically documented. People would go into their doctor, and something just miraculous would change, and the doctors would go, well, we don't know, or it would show up on their charts as, well, it was failed and now it's working, or it was gone and now it's there. So we had all of that going on, and that was something I was doing. And I thought, I really need to take this another step because I don't want to be the only person on the planet who does this. So I now teach to 64 countries, students in 64 countries, and students are learning these exact same techniques. So the hand movements and the steps, step by step, the processes, the methodology I use to grow back a gland or organ that I use to clear the mental body, the emotional body, the spiritual body.
Very interesting. Now, how simple or difficult or challenging is this? I mean, obviously you go, I put a pen here, we say some words, we go like this, and then the stuff happens.
Yeah.
Is it really that simple, or is it, I mean, it sounds much more complicated. I just want to hear you talk about it.
It's really that simple.
Is it
so
really?
if I were pumping like this, and you've had the experience, but it's been a couple of years ago.
Yeah, no, you worked with me
And
over the phone.
Did you remember feeling like,
I
whoa, things are changing?
I felt like there was like tingling energy happening in my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you might start, are you starting to feel a shift? Because I've just started activating the field. Can you feel it?
Well, I feel different.
Yeah, you feel different,
Yeah.
right.
Where I feel like there's a happier, kind of a, I want to say sparkling kind of feeling.
Exactly, because I just activated the quantum pleasure field, so I'm just lifting the energy. So if we had any kind of nervous energy being in front of the lights and the camera, we've just cleared that. So now we're in this more sparkly field, a field of pleasure.
Should have done that before we went on air. But better late
They
than
got to
never,
see
right?
the transformation.
No, really. So, I mean, obviously brain and body regeneration, growing organs back that are missing, bringing them up into higher levels of functioning.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone would want that, right?
Exactly. Everybody wants it. I think the cool thing is that every day, day after day after day, I get to see miracles. I think about a lady, Elizabeth, who actually became my neighbor. I was living in one area and I moved right into her area. So I was literally living like a block away from her. But she found out about me, and she had had multiple strokes from a toxic exposure. She had 6 strokes all at once, and she was 61. And she was completely out of her, you know, it was like she had Alzheimer's, essentially, from the strokes. And with the brain regeneration we did, we gave her back her life. Literally, she couldn't drive, she couldn't think, she couldn't do anything. And we did the brain regeneration, and she totally went back to a normal functioning life. She sold her house, she moved down to another fun, happening hip house, and she said that she really got her life, something that the doctors could not offer her. The doctors could offer her being stuck in bed. And, you know, I'm so honored to help people grow back their teeth, or to get their brain back, or to feel better in their skin. It's delightful. It's an honor.
Mm-hmm. Now, this sounds far out to some people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because we're all steeped in the Western medical model and what we learned in science and biology class and all that, where we didn't talk about particles and energy and alignment and reactivations and all that. Do you find that people have to have a certain belief system, or is this, does it challenge people's faith? How does that work for you?
I love that question too, because it's for everybody. And so I think about Jesus and I think, well, he came and he said, what I'm bringing to the world is for everybody. And his truth was based on love, and I'm going to say that working in the quantum field is based on love. And I'm actually an ordained minister, and we don't use that and promote that, but I'm a very faithful person who prays every day. Yet I was instructed also, internally, that this was for everybody. It wasn't supposed to be divided by religious beliefs. It was for everybody on the planet, because we are all part of this field. And when you talk to people who've studied quantum physics, they're going to say that theoretically, this makes complete sense. It resonates with, gosh, I did read about what could theoretically happen. So on some level, I think what we're doing is we're actually showing this oneness field. And when you think about spirituality and religion, we talk about that place of oneness with the divine. And that is in the pleasure field, that oneness field where we become one with everything. And so it's in religion and it's in science. And what we're now saying is we have complete access to growing younger, to regenerating the body, to drawing in love and wealth and happiness. And it's all in this field that we are part of.
This is great. Now, you have this wonderful book, your Divine Human Blueprint. You have courses, you have meditations, you have free things you offer on your website, and calls that people can be part of, and webinars and teleseminars and all that stuff. Tell us how people can get in touch with you and learn more about all this.
Okay, great. I want you to go to julierenee.com. And you can fill out the assessment. Now that's going to give us some good information about who you are and what your challenges are, and really give me an idea of how we can work together. So that'll get us started. I'm also on Facebook, and I have a really active YouTube channel, so you might want to check those things out. But come to the website and join me.
Very good. Well, I'm going to come and let you regenerate my eyes so I don't have to wear glasses anymore.
I love that, Jack. No, we're going to do that.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Jack, it's been a
Julie
pleasure.
Renee Doring, go to her website. We live in a time where anything is possible. And this is the possibility to live in a body that is functioning 100%. And I remember when you worked on my brain, we just kept taking it up percentage of its function. And I really felt that. I really changed my life at that point. So make sure you check her out. Stay back, stay present, stay back. Don't stay back. Stay here. That's what I went to say. We'll be back right after this message.